Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is set for September 2025 in Las Vegas, and I gotta be honest, this is very cool. If you're a Bud Crawford fan, this is pretty cool, right? You get to see him test himself, you get to see him go for greatness. If he beats Canelo, I mean, this elevates his status of legacy, I would say to a whole nother level. Now, with that said, this isn't David Benavidez. And for people like me, you want to call me a Canelo hater, go ahead. I disagree. I just think, you calling someone out for doing some BS isn't hating. It's just calling it for what it is. And we want to see David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez. That's the guy who is his size. That's the guy who is in his division. That's the guy who he should be matched up with. That's the guy he doesn't want to fight, though. Anybody but Benavidez. And again, it's not even that I want to see Canelo lose. If Canelo went out there and beat David Benavidez and put on a great performance and, reminded everybody of who he is, Canelo Alvarez, and proved who he says he is, which is the best in the world, and that's who his fans, describe him as, the best in the world. If he truly is that, he has to fight the people who the fans think he would lose to, or at least give him a good challenge. And he's not doing that. Not to say that Bud Crawford can't give him a challenge. He can. Again, this is a big opportunity for Crawford, but not for nothing. He went up in weight against Madrimov, and he didn't look like a world beater. He didn't look like a guy who was whose power transcended weights, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, Madrimov is a tough guy, but Bud Crawford is a finisher. He didn't get the finish when he moved up. So that at least raises an eyebrow to me anyways. And now he's moving up and he's fighting Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo's a bigger guy. I don't know. Again, not to say he can't win a decision. Not to say he can't outbox, outsmart Canelo Alvarez. He certainly can. He's capable of it. He's great. And this gives him an opportunity to be great. That's why this is still a fun fight, and I'm not completely negative on this fight. I actually like this fight. It's very cool, but it's not David Benavidez. This is a fight where if Crawford wins, he would be pulling off an upset. If David Benavidez won, it wouldn't necessarily be an upset. There's a lot of people that would favor Benavidez going into that fight. Do you get what I'm trying to say here, guys? Like, a lot of people think Benavidez gives Canelo the toughest challenge. Not as many people think Crawford gives him the toughest challenge. I think this is another example of Canelo Alvarez cherry picking. And to be fair, it's not an easy fight, right? Like, again, I don't want to be too critical because it's not an easy fight, but it's a guy that's smaller than you, and you're still trying to call yourself the best in the world, but you're not fighting the big time fish in your division. It's just weird to me, bro. It's just weird to me. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But I don't think you want to get it if you don't get it. It's very simple. If you're the champion, we want to see you defend your title against competitive fighters, against people who we think could beat you. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole thing. We want to see you tested, especially if you're a long-time champion, especially if you're calling yourself the GOAT, the greatest Mexican fighter of all time, the greatest boxer of all time, all these things. Like, if you're going to claim to what Canelo and his fans are claiming him to be, you got to fight the people we think could take that from you. I think David Benavidez could take that all away from you. I think Canelo, if he fought David Benavidez, I think David Benavidez could walk him down. I think David Benavidez could put pressure on him. All these things, and really back Canelo up and put him in a place where he hasn't been in a while, and potentially finish him. I'm going to be honest with you. I really do think that. I think he could be potentially finished by David Benavidez, and I think the fans deserve to see that. I think the fans deserve to see it, and just because he's not a big enough name, I mean, how big of a name does he want? He beat Caleb Plant back when, that was what Canelo just did. You know what I mean? It was a thing to beat Caleb Plant. David Benavidez showed he's on that level. You give him the fight back then. It's been years later now. it is what it is. It's more cherry picking from Canelo, but I've said enough on this topic. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, whether you agree, disagree. It does not matter. Just join the discussion, follow for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.